All right, this article applies if you are an existing SIMcloud customer, either on a current SIMcloud platform or on a classic SIMcloud or website pipeline platform. Any of those or all of those apply. And you are switching ERP systems. So if you're a SIMcloud customer, there's a 99.9% chance that you already have our platform integrated with your ERP system, probably through a sync tool that we implemented and worked with you to get implemented and syncing data back and forth. If you are looking to switch that ERP system out and replace it with a brand new ERP system on a platform that we don't have a standard connector on, you're on the right page. This is a playbook that you can follow to basically keep your existing platform and basically just switch out the ERP system on the back end and the sync tool. So this just goes through some of the topics covered, and I'm going to scroll down and walk through those. One notable, again, is this applies if you're on a current version of SIMcloud or a classic version of SIMcloud or website pipeline. One notable is if you're just doing a version update on your ERP system, like from Sage 100 2021 to 2022, this article does not apply to you. This is not an ERP version update. This is an ERP platform replacement with a brand new platform that you're looking at implementing, like switching from Sage 100 to Acumatica or NetSuite or something like that. So the solutions available to integrate with your ERP, this is just a recap on a high level of the different solutions that we have available. One is using our standard connector, this only applies if you're switching to Sage 100. Currently, check back. There's more of these that are getting expanded out. Or if you're switching, you can use solution number 2 if you're switching to one of the other Sage ERP systems, 300, 500, or X3. Our pro services team can use the SIMcloud Tech and Playbook and basically assist you with that switch out from your current platform to that one. Any ERP you can use to bring your own sync. Basically, if solution 1 applies, it's better to use that. If solution 2 applies, it's better to use that. Otherwise, go to solutions 3, and that can work with any ERP platform. So the project paths involved, this is really related to, do you have 1 or 2 projects? And that's determined by what you want to do with your existing SIMcloud platform. So if you're on classic SIMcloud, if you're not sure, you can contact us and we'll let you know. But if you're on a classic SIMcloud or website platform and you're switching ERPs, you can stay on that classic platform exactly as is. We can install the API modules and support the effort to literally just switch out the ERP. You would switch out the ERP sync, our sync tool with yours, and switch out the ERP sync on the back end. There's things we can do to create sandbox environments and stuff like that to protect your live site as you're going through it. The second thing you could do is go through a migration. We are supporting migrations, and we've got some really strong price incentives to get you to the current version of SIMcloud. There's lots of cool stuff and new features and capabilities that are available versus classic. So you would go through 2 projects. One is a classic to current migration, and number 2 is basically doing this ERP to SIMcloud integration project. And there's lots more details on the classic to current migration. You would want to keep those projects cleanly separated, do the migration first, and then do your ERP integration project on the new migrated platform. And our reps can talk to you more about this. The last path is if you're on a current version of SIMcloud, then you'll want to do a version update. You can check to see if you're on the latest version. If you're not, our customer success manager can help you out with that. Then we can schedule a version update. This talks through what that means, but to get you on the latest platform, that is your best bet to get on the latest platform. It gives you availability to have the SIMcloud API. That's your, and then you would complete the integration project. So all of these, you have an ERP to SIMcloud integration project. You just may have another project you want to do first, depending on your scenario and what your choice is. All of these remaining content is based on solution number 3, as I said, the bring your own sync tool concept. And there's lots of additional documentation that I'll reference here in a second as we go through the steps. So this is just a diagram of what's going to happen. Currently, your ERP platform probably has the SIMcloud, our sync tool called ERP driver, moving data back and forth that's installed in your local network and moving data in and out of your current ERP system. and it's using our API framework. Effectively, what we're doing here with this playbook is we're changing from a multi-tenant to single-tenant API. There's a bundle that we can install and deploy and put in your system to make this available. And you basically will use the playbook along with that API to move data. So we would provide this, what's in yellow, and install this on top of your existing platform. The assumption here is your existing platform will not change, other than if you do a migration, classic to current, or a version update. There will be slight changes associated with that project. But for the purpose of this project, we're not changing anything here that's going on with the platform. We're opening up an API for your sync tool to be able to integrate with. And then you would change out, you would provide the sync tool here. You or a partner of yours would provide the sync tool. We will provide a playbook and all the documentation related to the API. And then this would be your new ERP system, what's in green here. So you'll provide red, that's changing. What's green is changing too. That's your new ERP system on the back end. So the key here is the platform. If you do this correctly, the platform doesn't even have to know there's a different tool or different ERP system. Your tool's doing the translation and moving the data and interfacing with CIMcloud the same way our sync tool is right now with your current platform. And we will give you the API endpoints that essentially are, and data payloads that our sync tool through documentation that we'll go through in the playbook. So that's the general concept here. The specific playbook or steps that you'll take as you're going through this. This is a set of best practices that are highly recommended. If you have a project team, I would make sure you have some experienced people on the team in doing integration type work. It'll make it go a lot easier. And this goes through, there's lots of additional details on what's happening here. But the first thing is you're reviewing this article, which you're doing now, and then some additional articles related to, this is an intro article, by the way, that's referenced here. That just talks about a general ERP integration playbook and talks through the normal data payloads that are involved in an ERP integration, amongst other things. You can reference two types of integration projects. Again, I'm not going to go into all the content here. I'm just walking you through it. This article on understanding the API gives you an introduction to the API and then gets into technical documentation on the API with examples of how to call the endpoints and things like that. Understanding the foundational steps. This is getting into beyond the technical thing of what am I doing or what is this API I can access, into how do I actually plan and execute a project to have a successful ERP to CIMcloud integration completed. So one is the team. There's 8 critical roles. They don't have to be 8 different people, but you need to make sure those people actually get the role, they want it, and they have the capacity to do it. And we give basically little job descriptions of what the responsibilities of those roles are. And there are several of the roles that are critical. The most critical one is the solution architect role, which there's a separate article and we'll reference down here. And then you create key tools and documents. This walks through what they are and provides links to those documents. They're also referenced down here as you get into this. And then you would contact us for pricing on API related stuff and moving from multi to single tenant environment, getting a sandbox set up and things like that. Our rep can walk you through the process of what's involved there. And then if there's supporting services that you need, at the very least, we would have consulting allowances from our pro services group to support the API efforts. But you can contact CIMcloud for pricing. And then ultimately, once you evaluate this and decide you want to move forward, you would order the CIMcloud API and related services from your rep, and then roll forward with the project. And then the program manager, which is one of the roles that's linked here, would make sure that the core team is assembled. This is the business stakeholder sponsor, by the way, that's responsible for return on investment of this project. And they'll take extra care in assigning the solution architect roles, and there's details of exactly what this role means and why it's critically important for an integration project like this to have it. And then there's a role assignment sheet in this project tracking worksheet example. There's multiple tools in this example that this article goes through. You'll also build out the project planner will build out a project plan. There's examples in this tool The project manager will also start what's recommended recurring check-in calls for the project, and there's some best practices on that, or some simple outlines that you can use. They would also track the project plan, the issues list, and ad hoc to-dos. These are recommended best practices for your project manager to keep the project on track and keep people accountable for doing their stuff to get the scope delivered on time. The solution architect is going to build the integration strategy. There's 2 key documents. This is probably the most critical role that's most commonly overlooked. There's a data mapping sheet that gets into specifically mapping each endpoint. Like I have customers for my ERP going to accounts in SIMcloud. I have addresses for my ERP going to shipping addresses in SIMcloud. I have multiple pricing related things that are customer specific or customer group pricing that's syncing into SIMcloud's pricing engine. The data mapping sheet's going to lay all that out in granular detail. What tables in the ERP are hitting tables in SIMcloud, and what endpoints are they hitting in SIMcloud. And they get all the way into the field level mappings on that to identify special logic, like this date field is in this format in the ERP, and it needs to be translated in this format into SIMcloud for it to work. So it is going to get that granular. It is nitpicky, and it's important that it gets done properly. That role is also going to identify tricky logic things. For example, if you're trying to sync sales tax settings from the ERP or pricing, customer specific pricing from the ERP, those are 2 tricky areas of logic where the ERP has its own tax engine and pricing engine, and SIMcloud has its tax engine and pricing engine, and the data needs to be translated. So if one system's speaking German and our system's speaking French, the solution architect is going to figure out both systems. They need to know both languages and do that translation on a field and table level to make sure it's all going to work. If you're replacing, in this case you are, an ERP that's already syncing that data, it's also critically important that the solution architect understands this the live data takeover and produces a plan for live data takeover. So for example, if you're switching out the pricing engine and changing some logic on the way that works on your new ERP, they need to make sure there's not records, old pricing records, when you do a live cutover, that are still from the old ERP that haven't been accounted for and are still applying and creating conflicting pricing. So they would have to account for that by either taking over those records and editing what they do, or deleting or disabling those records. That's part of the live data takeover plan. To make sure that you have a clean cutover from your sandbox environment to live once the integration's done and tested. The technical strategy or plan is the technical person. This may be the same as the developer. They're writing a detailed technical plan, and there's a bunch of best practices in that technical plan. We've done tons of ERP integrations, as you're probably aware, with the SIMcloud platform. So there's lots of best practices that we share in there on things that need to be accounted for in the technical plan. And then ultimately you complete the development and testing. This is a simple step here, but not simple in practice necessarily. And then review and revise the live data takeover plan and do the live cutover, and then stabilize, monitor, and support the integration and platforms from that point forward. So that's an overview of the playbook. And again, you can drill into the links or details here in this playbook article. One notable here, kind of going back up to the top, this is very specific for existing SIMcloud customer that's going to do an ERP switch. This references a lot of documentation that's part of our general overall list of API related articles or playbook, just general integration reference guides. So things like this, the integration reference guides, these are linked in your playbook down in the steps, but these take a step back out and just say, hey, if you're doing any integration, here's basic principles that apply. And then you're one of the specific playbooks we're talking about here, but it's referencing general information. So keep in mind, this is linking to general concepts that apply to all complex integration projects on the team and roles and the tools and documents. It was just put into a specific lens or filtered through a specific lens for I'm switching my ERPs, and I'm going to take over the syncing of the data and keep the existing SIMcloud platform. What do I do? So good luck with the project. If you need help, our pro services team is available to help, and you can contact us for more details as you're going through your ERP change.